Miami bans Amanda Gorman poem from elementary schools. A parent complaint escalated to a formal challenge against 5 titles as the attack on diversity, equity, and inclusion and book bans persists throughout the country. What's up, everybody? Thanks for clicking this video. My name is Simon Hill. If you're new to my channel, I'll introduce myself. I'm a Black American who's been traveling and living across the world in different countries and spaces, and often on my channel I make videos related to that experience, about what it's like to be Black in those countries and how much anti-Blackness exists in those countries. It's a part of my Black Set series, which really helped grow my channel. But also on my channel, I talk about politics, things in society that are unjust against minorities and discriminated people. And I've dedicated my life to fighting against white supremacy and against injustice against all people, not just Black people, but all people. I'm also against the Second Amendment, and I think America should ban all its guns. So if you like what I have to say, continue watching. If you don't like what I have to say, leave a hateful comment and continue to grow my channel, and leave a dislike as well and help grow the algorithm, because we're trying to make some money here. Because I'll be honest with you, I'm a working class person, I'm a poor person, I'm a teacher, I'm a philosopher, and I'm also a pretty nice guy and pretty smart as well. So let's read this article from Essence and let's get to it. This was updated on May 24th, 2023. 2 months after a parent of 2 Bob Graham Education Center students challenged a handful of books for their inclusion in Miami-Dade's elementary school curriculum, the district banned 4 titles, including work from Black poet Amanda Gorman. For anybody who doesn't know who Amanda Gorman is, she's this Black girl who read a poem a few years ago during Biden's inauguration. I remember watching it on TV and not thinking much of it. I mean, it's typical, inspirational Americana speech from a Black person's perspective, talking about how the country needs to rise up above its worst tendencies and intentions. And there's nothing hateful about it. She didn't go out there and said she wants to kill white people or anything like that. It's a pretty decent poem. And if you want to read it or listen to it, I'll leave the link for the video in the comment section here. But it definitely isn't something that children should not be seeing. In fact, I encourage children to write poetry, read poetry, listen to poetry, because it cultivates the mind. It's art. It's only art. I'll continue. In March, Daisy Salinas challenged the ABCs of Black history, Cuban Kids, Countries in the News Cuba, the poem The Hills We Climb, which Amanda Gorman recited during President Biden's inauguration, and Love to Langston, which I assume is a book about Langston Hughes, another great Black American writer who was not a hateful person at all. The only work deemed age-appropriate that escaped the ban was Countries in the News Cuba, while the remainder were moved to the middle school curriculum. Now, as we're going to see, and possibly as we can judge by the name, Daisy Salinas is a Hispanic woman, a Latino woman, and there's been rampant discrimination against Latino people during the United States history, from the very beginning, from the annexation to Texas and California and many other things that have happened to Latin people, Spanish-speaking people, however you want to describe it. They've been some of the most discriminated people against in the country. Not only have Black people had to go through it, but Latin people as well. But we can see that this woman, who aligns with this community, and we're going to see later because we're going to look at pictures of this woman, is deciding to side with the forces of white supremacy, banning books about Black history. How bad could a book, ABCs of Black history, be about? Unless you want to face the truth, unless you're uncomfortable with the truth that there has been discrimination against Black people from the inception of the country till now. How is this book going to make anybody hateful or incite violence or anything like that? Cuban Kids, a book possibly just about kids who are living in Cuba, having possibly, decent lives, or showing the humanity in these children. Now this book has to be banned as well. And Countries in the News Cuba. Just this book has to be banned as well. I guess it's because it's talking about the rampant poverty in Cuba that's caused by the embargo that the United States enforces on this poor nation. But Countries in the News Cuba gets to stay. Why? Possibly, I guess, it's saying that, Cuba is a horrible, communist, devil-worshipping nation, atheistic nation. Let's continue reading. Who makes the decision on what is or is not appropriate? In this case, a materials review committee composed of 3 teachers, a library media specialist, a guidance counselor, and the school's principal were the deciding individuals determining what would be able to remain available. How come these people who have studied for so long to get their degrees to be able to do what they do, teachers, a library media specialist, a guidance counselor, school's principal, can't push back against one parent who made a complaint? School principals often have master's degrees, if not PhDs. These people should be educated enough to be able to reason and argue against this woman, or They should be educated enough or smart enough to ignore her, to ignore that this person is just probably a right-wing nut that Florida is riddled with, and just ignore this woman's complaint. Honestly, there's nothing wrong with these book titles, because I'm pretty sure if normal people read them, they would say there's nothing here that's incendiary. Let's continue. Even though Salinas was successful, she did not think the district went far enough and thinks the books should have been removed for all students, arguing that libraries and schools are meant to support the curriculum of the school, and I don't see how these books support the curriculum. Maybe in her mind, school curriculum should just be about blind caveman nationalism. Maybe we should just go to school, say the Pledge of Allegiance 100 times a day, recite the U.S. Constitution over and over again, and leave. We don't need to learn about different experiences. We don't need to learn about, other people's perspectives on the world. No, education is all about indoctrination to a person like Daisy Salinas. That's not what education is about. Education is about cultivating the mind, learning how to think, learning how to reason, being able to challenge things. I'm not saying Daisy Salinas is not, well, she is a very uneducated person, because I'm pretty sure she didn't read these books. She just skimmed through them. But she's not a very educated person or smart person, because a smart person is able to deal with different perspectives, is able to face contradictions, is able to reason and rationalize, and is able to argue, not say that somebody should be banned. And for anybody in my comment section who's going to say, well, Simon, you delete comments often and you block people on your channel often. I do. But you know what I don't do? I don't control YouTube. I don't copyright strike other people's channels who want to use my content or challenge what I have to say. Anybody on this platform, on YouTube, can say whatever they want. You can challenge me, but I'm not going to give anybody's voice on my channel, where I dedicate a lot of time trying to make really great content, to come here and make your voice equal with mine. If you know what it's like to be black in any other country, if you have a better take on this story than me, please make your own YouTube video. Turn your camera on. If you're typing on your phone, you have a camera. If you're leaving a comment on your computer, you have a camera. Say what you want to say. I'm all about free expression, but I'm not about banning people unless it's on my channel. While book bans are not an inherently new tactic, this has become a particularly politicized issue for the GOP. In the past few years, a flurry of legislation and regulations have been proposed around what school district libraries can offer to students. The latest instance occurs as Florida continues to remain a hotspot in the clash over what reading material is appropriate for children, with laws that have greatly expanded the state's ability to restrict books. And all of this comes back to the right wing's obsession with controlling the narrative. As we continue to move forward in society, as we continue to make a world that allows more people to freely express themselves, the right wing is going to try to fight back by indoctrinating kids or blinding kids to the realities of the world around them. They don't want them to know that, black people have gone through hell in America, or that gay people exist, or that trans people exist, and that identity is a social construct. No, they are convinced that they need to conserve, which is what conservatism is all about. They need to conserve rigid social norms that existed in the past, despite the fact that they bound people into boxes that make them uncomfortable, unhappy, unsafe, and it's sick. It doesn't need to be like this. I'm not saying that all the schools should start, flooding them with rainbow flags and black power stickers and all this sort of stuff. No, I'm just saying people need to be able to be exposed to ideas, because oftentimes when you ban material, it makes it more enticing for people to read it or want to get it or want to watch it or that sort of thing. Apple in the Garden of Eden. Eve was attracted to it because it was forbidden. This is the same thing. And I don't think the conservatives are smart enough to realize, because they possibly don't even read the own Bible that they claim to believe in so much. I'll continue reading. According to PEN America, a global organization with a mission of protecting literature rights and freedom of expression, during the last school year, 2021 to 2022, the state had the second highest number of book bans in the country, with 566 bans across 21 districts, ranging from the Panhandle to South Florida. As of March this year, 175 books have been removed. This is sad. I thought the right wing and the conservatives were all about free expression. They were saying that America's the land of the free, where you can do whatever you want. I'm pretty sure in Cuba, and all the other communist nations that people love to talk about, except maybe North Korea, books are not banned. They're not banning books in Cuba, saying that communism is bad. Possibly. I don't know if that's true. But even if they do, that's wrong. People have the right to access whatever they want. And besides, banning books, by the way, is a waste of money, resources, and time by the school districts. Because number one, all of these books and a lot of other material is found online on the internet right now. We can look up most books right now and have them instantly on our phones, on our Kindles, on our laptops, that sort of thing. I don't get why we're wasting time and resources doing this stupid stuff. It doesn't make sense. I thought the right wing was all about small government, non-intrusion and that sort of thing. But this is very intrusive. You're telling me and what I can't read. You're telling my children what they can't read. This isn't right. This isn't right. It's really dumb. Despite the overwhelming evidence to the contrary, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis maintains that book removal efforts are a hoax. But some folks, such as Avery Anderson of St. Petersburg, Florida, are fighting back. And Anderson even started a banned book library, stating, "You can try to control knowledge and you can try to limit what people learn, but knowledge always escapes eventually." So these students will eventually find this information, and I would rather us see it in healthy spaces, in spaces where they can express themselves and be wrong. We're seeing these topics pushed away from our kids at a time when they're most accepting of our differences. This is the time to address the rougher topics in an age-appropriate way. Instead, those books are not available to them, said Florida Freedom to Read Project's Director of Research and Insight, Stefana Farrell, who thinks that people believe the Parental Rights in Education law was passed to eliminate representation and thus are filing challenges against books. And that's the end of the article. I have to say this, this law that was passed by Ron DeSantis to give parents the right to petition the school district to ban books or to make content harder to access, they never think about it from the opposite side. These Republicans, these conservatives, these white people who say that we need to ban books that, make America look bad or indoctrinate kids to hate themselves or hate others. They never think about the black kid in class who wants to be able to read about his history, or the Hispanic kid in class that wants to read about his history in the United States, or the Asian kid, or even poor white people who want to know about the real history of the United States, how it's been a classist nation, a racist nation, a xenophobic nation, and that sort of thing, and how we can learn from that. Nobody wants to teach kids the real history of the United States to hate America. You don't want to end up like me, hating America. What you want to do is teach kids that we have grown from the past, learned from the past, not blocked them from the past. In school, there was a book called The Giver that I read in middle school, and I think kids should read this book. In that book, the society decided to do this. They decided to ban all the books. They decided to block people from history because they wanted to indoctrinate the next generation and make them forget everything about the past. And there was a person in the book called The Giver who was still the last person who remembers the society before then, and that sort of thing. I forgot. It's been many years since I read it, and I think they made a movie about it. But the same thing that we were taught in school when I was a kid now is happening. And I guess it's because, honestly, people are not reading. I think this all comes down to a lot of Americans don't read. They don't care. They think that, what they're indoctrinated with online and on their Twitter feeds and Facebook feeds is the truth. And that's the sad thing. There's too much misinformation. And also another sad thing is who this parent actually was. So let's find out who Daisy Salinas was. Revealed. Mom who forced Miami Elementary School to ban Amanda Gorman's inauguration poem attended Proud Boys rallies. For people who don't know who the Proud Boys are, they're a group who stormed into the U.S. Capitol on January 6th to try to take over the government to stop the inauguration of President Biden. And they tried to hang Mike Pence, the vice president, to Donald Trump. A far-right group ran by, once again, a Latino man who's all about Western chauvinism, how the West has the best society, the best civilization, and everybody needs to be like us. A civilization that bans books, a civilization that promotes patriarchy, heteronormativity, all this bullshit. This is the group, the Proud Boys. Daisy Salinas attended rally in support of far-right extremist Christopher Monzon. The avid Ron DeSantis supporter had been photographed with Enrique Tarrio. Her social media profiles show a deluge of far-right and anti-Semitic content. This person was able to ban books. A person who promotes conspiracies on Facebook. was able to ban books. Let's read a bit of this article. The mother who forced a Florida elementary school to ban Amanda Gorman's inauguration poem has attended far-right Proud Boys rallies, it has been revealed. Daisy Salinas complained that The Hill We Climb contained hate messages, and it was placed on a restricted list by the Bob Graham Education Center in Miami. Salinas' social media content shows that the mother of two has attended events with the Proud Boys and even posted with its leader, Enrique Tarrio, who was convicted of his involvement in the January 6th riot. She has also posted a series of far-right and conspiratorial content on her social media profiles. Salinas also complained about the ABCs of Black History, Cuban Kids, and Love to Langston, prompting the school to ban the books for elementary kids. Defending her actions to the Miami Herald, Salinas said she is not for eliminating or censoring any books, but wants materials to be appropriate for students and for them to know the truth about Cuba. Yeah, the truth about Cuba is that America has had an embargo on this small, poor nation in the Caribbean, not allowing people to fully trade with it, not allowing Americans to travel there and do tourism and help the economy grow. Yeah, that's the truth about Cuba. That's the truth. The truth is, it's a country that decided to go its own way against the United States, not be a capitalistic nation, not be a haven for prostitution, not be a haven for mafia members to go there and extort the people and price gouge and that sort of thing. It's a country that decided to go through socialism, a free country. A country that has nothing to do with the United States, and we decide to punish them for doing what they do. That's the truth about Cuba. Daisy Salinas. Daisy Salinas. Here's her. Sorry, let me scroll up. Here's her, Daisy Salinas, standing next to Enrique Tarrio. By the way, a man who claims often that he can't be racist, right? The Proud Boys can't be a racist organization because he's the leader, and he's also Afro-Cuban. He's a person of mixed black and white Cuban descent. So that means the Proud Boys can't be racist. So he can burn a Black Lives Matter flag, and he can get charged for that. He can do that because he's black, right? He's not. He's not. There's a lot of black people who aren't really black. And there's a lot of people who claim some heritage often just to be able to do some racist shit. And that's dumb. Enrique Tarrio is a racist. The Proud Boys are a racist organization. And let's not be fooled by people who say dumb shit like, well, you know, my great-great-great-great-grandfather was black, so I can't be racist. Enrique Tarrio, you are a racist. I hope you rot in hell and go to jail as well. And I hope the Proud Boys dissolve as well. Yeah, let's continue reading. School libraries are meant to support the curriculum of the school, and I don't see how these books support the curriculum, she said. In November 2022, the avid DeSantis fan attended a Proud Boys rally in support of far-right extremist Christopher Monzon, who took part in the 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charleston, Virginia. Salinas is pictured on her social media wearing a Ron DeSantis t-shirt and hat at the event. Just a month earlier, she took part in a rally outside the Miami-Dade School Board offices with Christian nationalist group Citizens Defending Freedom, CCDF, which is linked to Turning Point USA and Alliance Defending Freedom, the right-wing group beyond numerous anti-LGBT bills across the U.S. Salinas also attended a protest against masks in Miami-Dade schools in August 2021, where she was photographed standing next to Enrique Tarrio. The stupidest people in the United States were the people who protested against masks and the vaccine. I mean, seriously, how dumb can you be? There's a public health emergency, and you're protesting against some basic protocols that try to protect yourself, your children, your grandparents, your parents, and people around you, and they protested against that. And the dumbest people ever, a lot of them won the Herman Cain Award, the award for people who protested against masks and eventually ended up dying from it. I'll continue. Salinas was part of an intervention by Moms for Liberty at a school board meeting in July 2022 in which she protested against the use of two sex education textbooks. She was removed by security from the event, but the board later voted 5-4 to remove the books. Salinas has posted a stream of right-wing content to her social media profiles. In March of this year, she shared a Facebook post with a series of anti-Semitic tropes about an alleged Jewish conspiracy to control the world entitled The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, something that's been disproved like years ago. The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion was a pamphlet, I believe, published by the Soviets, that was meant as a misinformation or psyop campaign during World War II, or before that, maybe in World War I. I don't know. Either way, it's fake as fuck. It talks about how there was a secret meeting of Jews to try to control the world. It's dumb. It's dumb. It's really dumb. And anybody who shares that on their Facebook page, grandma, auntie, you're automatically discredited. So this woman's background should have been checked before they decided to do a Nazi and ban books in schools for kids. And here's a copy of the complaint. Here's what it looks like. She even mistitled The Hill We Climb, and it was published by Oprah Winfrey. It looks like she didn't even know how to spell Oprah Winfrey. And why do you object to the material? She said, is not educational and have indirectly hate messages. As an English teacher, this woman needs to go back to English class. And has, we need to use has, not have. It is not educational and has indirectly hateful messages. You need to make that an adjective. It's so embarrassing when people want to ban books but can't even write properly in English, like a lot of the people in my comment section. Anyway, I'll continue reading. Here are some of the posts that she made on her Facebook page. What the left fears more than anything are white people and black people coming together and loving their country. Yes, they do. That's why they broke apart the unions. That's why they always fought against the socialist movement and the communist movement in the United States when it was black workers and white workers coming together. It's not a bunch of Proud Boys worshiping the gun. Enrique Tarrio is not black. We don't claim him. Latinos, you can have him. White people, you can have him. But on behalf of the black delegation, Enrique Tarrio is not black. Not at all. I'll continue. Here are some of her other posts. The Protocols of the Learned Elders of Zion, a summary. Jesus Christ. Something in Spanish that I'm pretty sure is really bad. Florida Republicans want to criminalize free speech, I assume. Jesus Christ. These people need to be banned from Facebook, honestly. She's over here supporting Selena's campaign for DeSantis-backed candidate Roberto Alfonso, who gained a seat on the Miami-Dade School Board in August 2022. Yeah, this woman is very politically active, and she's being used as an agent probably to, carry out the right wing's mission of making sure that the next generation doesn't know or is not able to articulate what happened in America to try to make it better. They want to be stuck in the 1950s. Salinas has been an active campaigner with the Christian nationalist group Citizens Defending Freedom. And here she is. She's an ugly broad, very ugly broad. Please, we need to send her back to Cuba. Send her back to Cuba. And we need to bring in some more Afro-Cubans as well. All right, let's continue. The Hill We Climb was removed from the elementary school students after the single complaint. Answering a question on the official forum if the complainant was aware of professional reviews, Salinas wrote, I don't need it. She also said the aim of the poem, in her view, was to cause confusion and indoctrinate students. Gorman wrote on Facebook that she was gutted her poem had been removed. Robbing children of the chance to find their voices in literature is a violation of their right to free thought and free speech, she wrote. Adding that she wrote the poem so that all young people could see themselves in a historical moment, and that she's received countless letters and videos from children who were inspired to write their own poems. News of the library restriction came a week after publisher Penguin Random House and writers group PEN America filed a lawsuit against a Florida school district over the removal of books from public school libraries that addresses race and LGBTQ issues. Daily Mail has contacted Salinas for a comment. So I hope Penguin Random House and PEN America win their lawsuit to stop this madness. Hopefully this is the one time that, or one of the few times that private industry, the forces of capital, can actually do something good to make sure that people have access to knowledge. But either way, it's all futile because the internet makes it possible. Let's talk about people like Daisy Salinas. What a crazy name. Cubans have some of the craziest names. I'm pretty sure she's Cuban. I'm assuming that because I lived in Miami, Florida for 4 years. And in Miami, Florida, some of the most anti-black, anti-progressive, anti-left people in the world are the white Cubans in Florida. Some of the worst people in the world with the worst political views are the white Cubans in Florida. They've been indoctrinated with white supremacist American ideology. They come with this very, anti-communist view that rightfully they do have, because listen, even though I said some nice things about Cuba before, I'm against all forms of nationalism and I'm against all forms of repression as well. And Cuba, by and large, has been a repressive state to its people. But so has the United States of America. We can't sit here on our high horse and say, you know what, America is a great place and Cuba is the worst place in the world. It can never be that. America has done some of the most horrible things across the world to its people. To other people and to its own people, I mean. And people like Daisy Salinas, I forgot her name already. Miss Salinas is an ugly broad, a troll. She looks like Shrek. She looks like she should be under a rock somewhere, holding like. I just wish these people would just get out of politics and just go back to their countries. Yeah, I said it. Go back to their countries, please, please. We don't need any more right-wing extremists. We have enough in our country already. And honestly, as an American abroad, this is a big reminder to me why I have chosen to live outside of America, honestly. And you know what? I wish the best for anybody who's still in the States fighting against these forms of repression. But unfortunately, a lot of Hispanic and Latin American immigrants are coming from countries that have failed, partly because the United States during the Cold War funded all these right-wing dictators that ruined the economies of these countries and ruined the societies of these countries. We funded a lot of coups in the past century that destroyed these nations. And now these countries are shifting to the left because they want to actually take care of their people. And many of the rich, mostly white people in those countries of Latin American descent are moving to the United States, and they're bringing anti-socialist and anti-left views because they have a bad experience in their country. But they don't realize that the right in America is literally fascist, and they're supporting fascism, bro. Burning books, banning books, saying that we don't need LGBT representation or representation for minorities or voices from that dissent against our own is fascism. And that's the biggest problem in the United States. So I just hope that we can make a change for everybody. And that's all I have to say. Thank you for clicking this video. My name is Simon Hill. Hit the like button, subscribe, share, leave a comment, and peace.